over in England, a posh boat party is underway, thrown by Maxwell Montaigne. Things go sideways fast when an uninvited guest, Hutch, slips past security with a bribe, takes down Montaigne's guards and storms into the VIP section. He isn't there to mingle. He interrogates Montaigne until he spills the whereabouts of Paulo Braga in France and admits that the cargo smuggled out of the US was Bernard Orlick. Turns out, Bernard's captive in France. Braga's got him working on a neural chip, a device that, once implanted, turns anyone into a perfect puppet assassin. Braga uses Arnaud, one of his men, as a test subject. He takes Bernard and Arnaud into the woods for a live demonstration. There Arnaud meets up with his three brothers, Raphael, Mael and Louis, but once Braga activates the chip, Arnaud loses control and murders them all. The moment Braga cuts the signal, Arnaud collapses in horror at what he's done. Braga barely blinks, saying the brothers deserved it for stealing some oranges from him. While all this is happening, Nadia Sinh is hiding out in Germany with her daughter, Asha. Their safe house doesn't stay safe for long. A Manticore agent finds them, and Nadia has to fight her way out before she and Asha barely escape. After witnessing her mother's deadly skills, Asha asks to learn how to fight. Braga soon hears that Russian President Dmitry Aronov will be at the G8 summit in Scotland, just 10 days away. He gives Bernard an ultimatum: perfect the neural chip by then, or he'll kill Bernard's daughter. Bernard sees his shot when a guard slips up. He overpowers the man and makes a break for it. Outside, Hutch shows up. He's actually a rogue CIA agent with his own grudge against Braga, who once tried to kill a woman named Celine, someone Hutch cares about. The two agree to team up. According to Bernard, they'll need a mess of loyal spies, outcasts, orphans, burnouts, and even psychopaths to have any hope of stopping Braga. Back on Nadia's end, she seeks out Frank Sharp, a con artist, hoping he can help her family get new identities. Frank is jittery. He claims he's radioactive now and nobody wants to deal with him. Just before Nadia leaves, he drops a bombshell. The inside man passing secrets to Deadlier Archer was Mason Kane himself, the same man Nadia once married. Abby slips out before dawn to meet a contact from the Gladirenar. She's desperate to see her daughter Hendrix and needs help traveling under the radar. But things go sideways fast. Joanna somehow intercepts her message, figures out where Abby and Mason are hiding, and sends a team of Manticore agents to hunt them down. As the sun comes up, Abby gets to the rendezvous spot. Mason wakes up and realizes she's gone. Contact Carter tries to spill the truth about Abby's past. Turns out Mason's been hiding a lot from her, but that conversation never finishes. Manticore agents bust into the supermarket. Carter catches a bullet, but he manages to toss Abby his keys and tells her to hide. She's sprinting for the exit when Mason shows up, lobs a grenade and takes out one attacker. Another agent keeps chasing Abby. He almost catches her. Mason rescues her at the last second, wounding the agent. But as he gets tangled up fighting another operative, the injured guy snatches Abby, forces her into a car and drives off. Mason can't reach her in time. Back home, Mason rushes to get ready for a rescue. He's in for a surprise. Nadia is there waiting and she's furious. She found out Mason is the mole who betrayed Citadel, and she lets him have it. Mason tries to explain. He never knew Deadlier was working with Manticore, and his whole life got twisted by revenge after Citadel torched his father. Nadia, not in a forgiving mood. She tells him to stay away and promises if their paths cross again, she'll kill him. In France, Hutch gets Bernard a fake passport so they can escape by train. They head to Italy and corner a Reuters employee, Alessandro, strong-arming him into publishing something that pushes their agenda. Hutch doesn't mince words. If Alessandro says no, he'll regret it. Braga, meanwhile, cares more about his wrecked home than Bernard slipping through his fingers. He finds out Hutch used to be CIA and calls in McCaffrey. Joanna fills Braga in. A mysterious Korean hacker can fix the mind control software. Now Joanna wants Aparna to forget about tracking Nadia and focus on finding that hacker. Nadia ends up alone in a hotel bathroom, lost and furious over Mason's betrayal. She sits in icy water, falling apart. Asha tries to comfort her, reminding her of her grandfather's belief that Nadia was always the smartest in any room. But Nadia's had enough. She wants to stop trusting people who always let her down. Joanna keeps digging and through Gladirenar CCTV audio, learns Mason has been hiding Abby's real identity from her. Out of options, Mason breaks into his mother's house. Deadlier, a woman everyone thought was dead. He needs her help to find Abby. Deadlier works her contacts, decrypts a phone from Abby's kidnappers and points the finger at Braga. She also discovers Bernard's still alive. She urges Mason to let her help, reminding him he's already betrayed Citadel once. Abby wakes up in France, locked in the same cell where Bernard was held. Joanna shows up, focuses on the scar on Abby's neck, one Abby always thought came from a car accident, and calls her Celeste. Mason and Nadia forced to work together, even though there's no trust left between them. Even with a common enemy, it's obvious they're no longer on the same side. Elsewhere, Bernard Orlick watches time running out as Paulo Braga moves ahead with his plan. Bernard's desperate and wastes no time pulling together a team: Hutch, Celine and the wildcard Frank Sharp. They don't get along, but they get it. Braga's a real threat, and millions of lives hang in the balance. Their job is to track down a mysterious hacker, someone whose skills could tip everything. Bernard's got no illusions. Unless they find this person, Braga's mind control program will go global. The team jumps into Hutch's risky plan, feeling the pressure mount. Things go sideways fast. Bernard's team finally hunts down their target, that elusive hacker everyone's been chasing. After sifting through encrypted files and dead ends, they unearth a huge twist. Edison isn't the man everyone pictured. She's a woman. That changes everything. Suddenly, the team's scrambling to keep this under wraps, even from their own Citadel co-workers. Paranoia creeps in, a split forming in a group that barely trusts each other as is. With Edison's identity locked in, the game plan shifts fast. Word is she'll be at a swanky European gala. Perfect time to make a move. The team jumps into action. Timing's tight, margins even tighter. Inside the gala, things look smooth on the surface. Fancy lights, guards everywhere, everything choreographed to a T, but if you look closer, the air's buzzing. Mason and Nadia are there together, and history between them hangs in every glance. A mess of old betrayal, anger, things left unsaid. They need to have their heads in the mission, but their emotions keep knocking everything off balance. They're supposed to work together, but really they're just trying not to blow up at each other. Things unravel fast. The confusion is too much. Enemies swoop in while the team's reeling, and Edison gets grabbed right out from under them. The mission falls apart in front of their eyes, everything slipping between their fingers as the gala erupts in chaos. When the dust settles, Mason makes a move no one saw coming. He doesn't circle back to the team. Instead, he bails, a primary antagonist at his side. He escapes into the night with the enemy, who's not just any foe but someone tied directly to Delia Archer, Mason's mother. That single act flips the whole power balance. Mason on the road, Delia Archer in the passenger seat, and Paulo Braga locked in the trunk. Mason's plan is clear. He wants to use Braga as a bargaining chip to get Abby back. Bernard Orlick quickly finds out about Mason's strategy, and it sets the wheels in motion. Braga wakes up, trapped and panicking, banging on the inside of the trunk. They get pulled over, and for a moment it looks like help might be at hand, but Delia doesn't hesitate. She takes out the cop before anything escalates. Mason sees how ruthless she is and starts questioning if he can trust her, but Delia just brushes him off. She tells him she likes the version of him that doesn't flinch. Over in France, Joanna gets word that Braga's gone. She immediately orders a massive search. At the safe house, Braga tries to get in Mason's head, suggesting they work together for the sake of their kids. Mason isn't buying it. While she steps outside to arrange a swap with Joanna, Delia tells Mason to get ready to change vehicles. Delia admits to Mason that she targeted him because he found out who she was. She still insists she's trying to help Braga save Abby, but Mason clearly doesn't trust her. Frank manages to trace the getaway car, giving Orlick and his crew their first real lead. In a rare lull, Delia actually cooks for Mason. The two talk about what love means. Delia admits Mason's father was the only person she was ever really attached to, but Mason refuses to get distracted. For him, it's all about Abby. He's already piecing things together, sensing Delia isn't on anyone's side but her own. She confesses talks are ongoing, but nothing's settled yet. Meanwhile, Apana moves Edison to France, and Joanna gets Abby ready for the big exchange. Orlick, Frank and Nadia race to find Delia, but when they get there, it's too late. Braga's dead, and Mason's running the show. Mason goes undercover, disguising himself as Braga with a voice changer. He shifts the meeting spot to a subway station. Joanna falls for the trick, but when she sees who's really under the hood, she realizes she's been set up. Mason launches an attack, taking out Joanna's security, and Joanna barely escapes. Bullets fly as Mason and Abby make a run for it. After the chaos, Mason finally reaches Abby in the car. He calls her name, but she looks him straight in the eye and asks if he means Celeste. Keep pretending to be both Mason and Kyle. He's got to pick a side, pick who he really wants to be. Mason agrees to hail. He could lose everyone who matters. Bernard just tells him to keep going, that's Celine, and what she representing, everything they once had. In those last flickering moments, Mason isn't sure where one life ends and the other begins. Bernard Orlick and his team come across Mason's body and find Nadia barely alive in the wreck. They rush her to safety. When she finally wakes up, she gives them the ugly truth. Abby, under mind control, killed Mason, and she's still out there following her orders. Inside the G8 summit, Abby doesn't miss a beat. She murders 2 journalists, grabs their credentials and sneaks in. Once past security, she kills a sniper and takes his spot, ready to assassinate President Dmitry Aronov, cold and methodical. Everything outside the summit spirals fast. Multiple teams close in from all sides. Joanna tells Apana to stop Bernard's crew before they get anywhere near Abby. Frank Sharp dresses as a cop and sneaks inside. Hutch and Celine use fake CIA badges to get into restricted areas. Apana intercepts them, and Hutch and Celine have to deal with her while Nadia heads straight for Abby. Nadia reaches Abby at the sniper's nest. The showdown is tense. Nadia begs Abby to come back, but Abby's still locked under the mind chip's grip. No emotion, no mercy. Nadia is left with no choice. She shoots Abby. But that's not the end. Nadia quickly realizes they've been played. The assassination is already underway, set up to run even if Abby failed. Bernard predicted all of this. Frank Sharp, disguised as a cop, moves through the chaos and hides an explosive flashlight close to President Aronov's motorcade. As panic breaks out, he slips in, injects Aronov with a lethal toxin, and kills him on the spot. Somewhere else, Bernard hunts down Joanna, then shoots her in the chest, revenge for Mason and her role in the conspiracy. With the satellites now his, Bernard goes all in. He uses the $24 billion from Braga to cut a deal with Russia's new president, gaining control of the orbital system. Instead of using them for power, he tells Selene to destroy every satellite. Nobody should ever have that kind of control again. After all of it, Nadia confronts Bernard. She sees through everything. He orchestrated the entire mission, knowing Abby was the killer the whole time. The betrayal stings. Nadia turns her back on him, leaves the mission behind, and chooses her daughter's memory over another operation, vowing never to work with Bernard again.